so I'm trying to get that done at the same time. Do we have any changes for the meeting minutes from?
No.
All right, so Rochelle, what do I need to do to open a public hearing?
She's still on mute.
Oh. Is she, let's see. So I think I just have to say, I'm going to open a public hearing to hear about possible demolition.
I think you have to give the time.
Yeah, it is 6:04 p.m. So those COAs are 20-159 and 20-160. And Joe, I'm assuming that's you.
Yes.
Okay. Have we started with the demolition ones?
Yeah, I just opened the public hearing and we are getting ready to start that.
Okay, great. So whoever is going to discuss this or talk about it, besides HRB board members, I need you to let me know, because what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to swear you guys in, okay? So if you are going to talk about this, I just need to have you hold your hand up, your right hand for me, if you please. And then who's going to speak about this tonight? Just Joe? Is there anyone else, Joe?
Not that I know.
Okay.
Somebody said something.
Oh, Nick, you're
Kemper.
okay. Nick. Okay, so Nick, I'll need you.
And my spouse, Jim Taylor, is also here.
Okay, great. Then I'll need you guys to also hold up your hands and then say this too. So just repeat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say it at the end. I say it. Please say I do, and you all repeat I do. Okay.
Okay.
So please raise your right hand and repeat after me. Joe, this includes you too.
Yes.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is to the truth to the best of your knowledge? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do.
Excellent. Okay, great. Now we're good. There is another thing too that I think I'm sorry, I keep starting off. I'm like, let's go. And then I'm like, wait a second. I have consulted with the city attorney, and there was a lot of questioning that we have to review new construction plans that are also available with the demolition. And what I'm going to read to you is part of the requirements. Give me 1 second. And so basically, when I talked with our city attorney, she stated that the actual wording within our manual, she says, is to review those findings, but not to approve them. And so that means that we can do, according to her, demolition. And then while reviewing the new plans, we still need to have those, but wait until another month to officially review and approve new plans. So I just wanted to kind of state that in case there were some questions about that and the procedure that we're doing. Does that make sense? And does anyone have any questions?
Yes. Is the approval of the new plan a public hearing as well?
No, that is just normal HRB business. Demolition and relocation are public hearings.
Okay.
And zoning changes if it's going to be a bed and breakfast.
Okay. And approval of demolition does not equal actual demolition until the revised or the replacement structure is approved. Is that correct?
Yes, we would require that demo couldn't occur until the new building the new design has been approved. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there any other questions? Is there any?
Yeah, I do now, Rochelle.
Okay.
So I still have to present this plan tonight in order for you'll see the board sees what goes back in its place.
Yes.
So you're telling me that you can't even, what is the process here then?
We wouldn't.
I didn't understand that. So it's what's another 30 days? What's that about?
No. So it's okay. So basically we could give you approval to do demolition, but we won't give you the go ahead to do the actual demolition until we've approved your new plans. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah.
So you can go forward and create the new plans and come back to us and make sure
Right.
that that's what they want. But we can give you approval to demo what portions, if the board chooses to do that. We can potentially give you approval to do those changes, but we won't allow you to do that until you get approval for the new plans. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Very kind of.
And
Okay.
Okay. All right, Beth, you can go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it looks like you wanted to, well, the shed is one thing, and then the rear portion of the building demolition is another. So that's COA 20-159 for the shed and COA 20-160 for the rear of the building. I'm sorry, I'm not in the right place. Joe, can you just go ahead and start talking about what they wanted to demolish, and
Yeah.
is it
Um,
something that's falling apart, or?
Well, Beth, I know it's written down as two, but I think, wouldn't it be easier just to talk as a whole for this or not? And
You
we're
can
gonna-
talk. Yeah.
uh,
You
Yeah,
just need to give justification for both properties, both the house and the shed to be demolished.
Okay. All right. So my first thing I was going to say, Rashay, is what you brought up just a few minutes ago. I was very confused as to which the right way to do this is kind of, which comes first. And it's mine. I understand too that the board needs to also approve the plan, but it was made known to me that I have to get the demo done, and you weren't allowed to even look at the plan. So I don't know how that was supposed to work, but now halfway understand what we're talking about here. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give you, in my opinion, on this rehab on the property. The property has been, well, let's go back. I don't believe anybody could rehab this property without extensive renovation due to the neglect and the poor workmanship over the years. The property has lost so much of its period architectural elements, and just from my opinion, I don't believe anybody could comfortably live in that house without probably spending a minimum of $150 just to get it to a vernacular kind of a building at best. And so, this home no longer has any of its luxury elements left that it once had. And for this reason is why we want to return this property to the luxury level that it once was. And I believe that when this property is finished and the value will be at least $900,000 and above property value. And I think that what we're proposing to do once we get this going will be a timeless rehab. I think it'll last for a long time. So anyway, the other thing is I put it in all my notes when I did this. I said, I'm requesting this for the homeowner. I'm acting as their construction and design manager, and to demolish the outbuilding and portions of the rear additions as noted on the drawings in order to stabilize the rest of the house while trying to move forward with our rehab, our renovation, restoration, and additions to the property of 509 North 3rd Street. This property, to my best of my knowledge, was probably built according to Sanborn maps around 1850. And getting into the structure, and I put a little thing out. I don't have the technology to have a really nice thing here, but I did put up a board. I want to kind of point through some of this stuff as we go on this board, and you all do have sets of plans, I believe. And after going through this, we've some of the floor joists in the rear section of the house, we found them to lying on the ground. If you look at the outside of the house, when you look at the rear sections, the earth is above. Actually, the siding goes down into the dirt, so the foundation is actually down. All that is down in the ground now. The biggest issue we have is on the second floor, and where I'm going to point out to you here, I have a picture. I'm going to bring my iPad up. I'm sorry. Hang on a second. Okay. Can you guys see this picture here? This is actually the siding of the house. When this house goes from this portion to this portion on that second floor, those floors are have dropped almost 5 inches from the door to the back wall, which is probably 15 or 16 feet. And I have another picture here just to show you. I did a laser picture of it. Can y'all see that? That is actually the floor, but my laser sets 4 inches off the ground. So that's about 8.5 inches. So really it's about closer to 4.5 inch drop from the front of the house to the back in just that one room, which tells me that this wall, let me show you another picture here. I hope everybody's familiar with the job.
Yeah.
That this wall right here it's over some time has fallen or dropped 4.5 inches down. And that wall would have been, the floor joist would have been set on top of this first floor wall, because that's a frame house. It's not brick or anything back there. So it would have been sitting on top of that. So, I mean, that tells me that is actually sunken over the years. And we're afraid that our new proposal, that just will not support what we want to do. We're afraid that there's just not enough support there. The north side room, which is the porch, which is, I'll hold this up again, is this side porch, which converted to a room at some point. As you can see, the ground, you can see that it's all the way down in the ground, the floor is. And when you go inside, the floor is all warped and just, they're buckled and they're all over the place in there. And it's all, that's all caused from moisture. We know that. The shed, in my opinion, which is that outbuilding, which I think you've probably seen, which is located right up here. The shed really has no architectural value. If you look at that and you look at those pictures in there, you'll see that it's been rebuilt many, many times, and it's not even in the same spot that it originally started. You can tell because there's pads of concrete back there. But it's been old wood. You can see it. It's been rebuilt with old wood, but it's also been, the rafters are like 2x8s. You know, they're you can tell that they're not very old when you go in and you look at that. So it's been rebuilt several times, and it's actually, I'll explain in a minute. It's going to be in the, you can see it's not in the new construction that we like, but it's really close to the edge. So it's right. It's really in the way. It really serves no purpose. So we're adding, as we asked for this demolition, we have shown the footprint of what we want to do. So we'll attach that here in just a minute. And I understand that we cannot move forward unless this demolition's okay, and that we're subject to the HRB down the line. I understand all that stuff. And I know that you all have to prove this for us to get a permit. I think when we start looking at what we want to remove, I just don't know if it's very little lost historical features in this building. If you go back there and look, anything that you cannot see from the road, every window, every door is a vinyl window and door now hidden behind storm windows that they replaced at some point. The siding, the vinyl siding that's on the house is covered up. Some wood siding that is in really bad shape. But so there's really not much historical value on the part that we're proposing to remove. Once you see what we want to do as far as replacing and so forth, it is going to be very, very inconspicuous from 3rd Street. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure that you will probably only see a chimney outside of the one room that we're proposed on the right-hand side. And all this, we just need to get this done. So the homeowner just wants assurance that he can go ahead and get with his architect to finish his drawing to move forward with this. I do believe that the good will definitely outweigh the bad here. I don't think that demolition will not adversely affect the distinctive characteristics of the district as we propose to move forward with these new plans. I think this project will have a great boost to this portion of the historic district. And I think that the proposed plan for this site will strengthen this portion of the district and create a very nice living environment. So short of that, if you don't mind, I'm going to move this off of me and I'm going to go to the drawings. I think I can explain it better. I think everybody, I hope you can see what I've done here, but I know you have your own set, so I can still just point things out if you need to know. But did your all's prints come out yellow or did not? Do you see your all's plans?
Mine did not.
No, there's no yellow.
I took your copy off the COA and traced my own yellow.
Okay.
It's shown in yellow on the application on the iPad though.
Okay.
On the big
So-
machine and engineering, Joe, it probably didn't transfer, so sorry about that. Oh, or you got them at
That's fine.
GBA. Yeah, okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, you got them at GBA, that's right.
Let me find my other drawing. Oh, shoot. Hang on a second, guys. I just had it. Anyway, this section right here, everybody get their bearings. This is the front of the house, okay?
Yes.
All right, what we're proposing here is to go over here on this side where this bay area is, that they put a rooftop little sunroom or some sun deck or something on it that's fallen off. We propose to remove that. And then after we remove that, the wall that's the bearing wall for the house on that side, we're afraid that if we don't take that wall down and these other walls, that we're not going to have a strong enough structure to hold the rest of or to move forward with the project. So, we're looking at taking this off and putting that wall back right where it is. It's the same place. It just needs to be. And then on the other side, where that porch was, I showed you earlier, this portion here, we're asking to remove that portion too. But this will also include this wall and this back wall here and all this on the back. So where you can see that's down on the ground. So when we finish, when you look at that, this new wall will come right up beside that window. So that'll be 2-story right there. But anyway, this is the part that we propose to take off. Is this and this. What did I do with my other pictures? Bear with me, guys. For heaven's sake. It's the only place I've been. Oh, it's on my iPad, so I'm sorry. All right, here we go. I'm gonna show you again. I think I can do it better here. All right, looking at this once again, okay?
Yes.
This is the bay area here that I was talking about. As you can see, it's pretty ratty. And then this area right there, we're talking about taking this off. And then the upper portion up there too.
So everything you're looking to demolish would actually be, except for the one corner of that bay, would be on the interior of your addition, were it to not be demolished. Is that what you're saying? I mean, that's what I'm seeing. Like, if you look at the plans, there's only everything that's yellow is inside the new addition, except for the shed, one corner of that bay, and then something on the front porch that I'm not clear about. But I think that's just a little.
Yeah, and the only reason this wall would be inside is because in order to get up and to this new portion of the house, we go to the top of the stairs. There's not enough room there, so we need to move that wall over about a foot. So it's it's really close to being in the same place, but it's still not. So that's why we have to move it out.
Or Riche, I'm looking at the it's kind of, let me find it. In our regulations, there's a couple of different things that are kind of not completely clear. So D2 says it's on 2 pages. Do not demolish a structure until the preservation coordinator has determined the structure or portion of a structure poses an emergency condition or conditions dangerous to life, health, or property, or a certificate of appropriateness allowing demolition has been approved through both Bardstown Historic Review Board and the City Council. So that's one thing. And then D3, which is similar and longer, so sorry, I'm gonna read the whole thing because that's kind of what I do. No application shall be approved to demolish any structure, portion, or structure in the historic districts or any individual landmark unless the city has determined that the structure poses an imminent threat to life or property as set forth, same thing I read, unless the demolition will not adversely affect the districts or the landmarks distinctive characteristics taken as a whole, retained over time, and the demolition will not adversely affect the district's important as a unified entity composed of interrelated resources, unified historically or aesthetically by plan or physical development. 3, the applicant has submitted and the Bardstown Historic Review Board has reviewed detailed plans for new construction on the site to be demolished. So I know that we are pretty strict about demolition.
Yes.
But I need you to tell me in these rules. I mean, this rules, because it's not like it's the front of the house.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out if this is actually okay
Got
based
it.
on rules.
Sure. And so let me start off. Which questions do you have for me, Beth? What can I do to help you?
Well, it does seem like it does say, you know, we don't do this unless there are
Imminent threat, right?
dangerous to life, health, or property.
Got it. So part of that of what he's defining is dangerous to property, okay? Because I was allowed to go into the house and take a good look at it. It has been modified extensively. He's right. It's all vinyl windows except for like 2 that are left on the house. So everything was replaced like inside in secret dead of night. I don't know. Or before the regs were put into place. I'm not really sure. The angle of the floor on the second floor is quite frightening. So what that allows us to do is if it's about to collapse, we have to consider it. If it's also dangerous to the structure to remain that way, which I would say the collapsing beams are definitely an issue to be taken into consideration. I think the angle on the second floor isn't stable. There's definitely some structural beams that have been compromised. And so you have to take all of that into account and determine if that is worthy enough to allow demolition to occur.
Okay, that is what I wanted to know. I just, because none of this is visible
From the
basically
outside.
or from the street. And if we are going to approve this plan, which is very different from what we saw before, in that it does not have a garage right up at the street, then everything that's going to be demolished, except for literally one small corner, would end up inside the building and we wouldn't see it anyway. So I'm just trying to make sure that we are following our regs. And I mean, it does sound like, it sounds terrible. It sounds like it probably shouldn't be there.
Well, and part of the other thing too is we have allowed additions to go down 2 previously, like in the last year and a half or so. We've allowed 2 additions and kept the main structure because the additions were not on solid foundation. And although
I could think of 2 that we had done recently.
Yes, that's right. We have done that. So 2 additions that were allowed to come down that were historically accurate. So historically accurate. They met the criteria of being historic as labeled by the National Park Service, which is over 50 years old. Anything over 50 years old, we're tasked to protect. But the problem is getting a structure that was built on foundation that isn't necessarily stable is very difficult to go forward. And how you can do that. You could take a cement truck and rip out the floor and plug holes and retry to cement that, but that doesn't always necessarily agree that they can get it just right. And I know we cannot take cost into consideration. Absolutely. It is extremely expensive. And then economic hardship comes into play. So the main criteria is, does what he's describing and the issues to the property warrant demolition to occur? There we go. Sorry.
Okay. That's kind of what I needed to know and what I needed to hear. That although it doesn't apply to the shed, but if we're going to approve this, obviously the shed would be like almost inside the house. So how does that work?
Well, and part of the issue is that what he's describing with the shed, it's been modified so extensively. I don't know when it's been rebuilt. It's not in its original location. The inside is almost 100% new lumber. There's nothing old about it. So there's an integrity issue there of whether or not that even meets the criteria of 50 years old or not. And I'll be honest, even with me going through it with a fine tooth comb, I found pieces of old lumber in the walls, but pieces. I didn't even find full length contents of that to determine that they used an old board somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's been really compromised. And yes, we try to save every outbuilding. We try to save every shed. It is our job to do that. We want to do that because they were carriage houses or they were potentially early auto houses, you know, when the automobile first came through. But this one, it's not in its original location. And I cannot tell you exactly when it has been built, but it has been extensively modified. And so again, what necessarily is the cost of that to come down? I don't know what we're saving. Do you see what I'm saying with that one?
Yeah.
That one doesn't bother me as much because the location has been moved. And all of you, all quick little lesson here. If the location of an original historic structure has been moved, which what we dealt with the Daub House, the historic integrity of that structure is gone. And so therefore it usually makes it non-compliable or not able to be on the National Register of Historic Places. And it calls into question it being able to have grants and other things given to it. So with that being said, the shed isn't my concern. The house is my concern, right? Yeah. And if anyone disagrees with me with that, that's okay. You don't have to agree with me with that one.
Okay, guys. Well, first, Nick and sir, I didn't catch your name, but if you all wanted to speak, I want to make sure you have a moment to do so.
Yes, Jim Taylor is.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I guess we're as cloudy as everyone on exactly what the procedure is here. And the demolition can't be considered without the new structure. And frankly, I have more questions about the new structure than the demolition. And this being the public hearing portion of this procedure, I guess now's the chance to speak up.
Yeah, and I don't know what we're allowed to ask when it comes to the new structure, because I mean,
you can ask anything. You're not limited to anything. You're allowed to ask any questions you may have.
what is the square foot difference between the existing stuff that's being demolished and then what is being replaced?
I believe it's 1,584 square feet.
So
Let me make sure. I've got all this here. Hang on a second. Okay.
okay.
We did the numbers.
What?
Math.
That's not wrong. Okay. I've got them all here. I just can't see it at the moment. Okay. All right. We're asking if we're going to go from 2,500 square feet. No, it's not right. I'm not telling you right now. Okay, it's a little different because there's a screened-in porch on there, sir. Okay, so
Right.
if you count the screened-in porch, it'll go from about 3,000, around 3,000 feet to 4,540. And if you don't include the screen porch in that and the side porch, you can take about almost 525 feet off of that.
Okay. I guess it's so hard to visualize from it, but I think it's not quite right that from the street, this is going to look
The same.
the same. I mean, it's half again as wide to the right, and it almost looks, I mean, it's not quite twice as deep, but it's almost like building an entire house at the back of an existing house. And I don't know. I mean, and some of this is fear factor. And the last thing we would want to see is this property never becoming what it could be. Because I mean, it's been an eyesore
going on there.
Yeah, but the scale of this is just, it's a little frightening, to be honest, which is why we wanted to attend.
And the thing here, that Beth brought up, the demolition will not adversely affect the district's importance as a unified entity. I don't know. To me, this basically that entire lot is all of green space is going to be eaten up with a structure or a significant portion of it. And that's, that's the thing that I have a problem with that concerns me, that basically the backyard of that house is going to have another house in it. And, if you look, the house next door is for sale. The house across the street is for sale. And if something like this becomes a trend, I don't know that we are maintaining our historic district in the condition it is now. And those are my concerns.
I mean, if it goes forward at this scale, I mean, where really does it end? I mean, we're very familiar with Nashville, for instance. And I mean, there's all kinds of cases of retaining an original structure, but then building a big house behind it. And basically it becomes a facade with something entirely inappropriate behind it. And I know this has to be balanced with, well, is it better to have a house that's just falling down and can't be sold, which certainly we've seen. But the scale just seems disproportionate to what, if enough of this goes on, this isn't going to be the same look to a town.
Well, and obviously being on the historic board, that is important to us. And they came to us with this plan, and it was even closer to the street, the addition. So we have had a lot of discussions about pushing, what is visible to the side further back. And they also have to meet a certain amount of green space through the city. And I don't know exactly how all that works, but
That's planning and zoning, Beth, but yeah.
that's planning and zoning. And I don't know how much, Rashay, how much say do we have about that?
You have everything to say about that. So essentially it's our decision and the board's decision, not mine. It is your decision based on the evidence given. If you feel the addition is too large, if you feel that it's not something that can be feasible, and if you feel that it was something that would hurt the district, or if you feel that it is something that will help the district. The design is extremely important in the fact that going forward, people will definitely be seeing this. It will be very visible. And there's a lot of people that are interested in Bardstown that have a lot of money to invest. And so it's very possible we will get more of these requests for something this scale, this size. So we have the right to say that it's too big if you want to, or you want it to be smaller. We have the right to ask for it to change if you don't feel that it meets the criteria that is set forth in the guidelines. So the real question is if it meets the guidelines or doesn't, and that is something that the board must come to a consensus on. Or at least win a vote to, or not win a vote to.
Okay.
It appears on the site plan that there's a pretty significant amount of green space. I know it's behind the home, but I don't have an exact dimension from property line in the back to like the back of the new addition. But I mean, it seems it's more than half of the lot is green space than it is carriage house and home. I think put the carriage house garage in the back gives more privacy to the owners in the backyard, and also retains a lot of the green space on the right side of the structure. Towards, on the side of the house towards the front. I do like this plan better than the last, the original that we saw.
And just for FYI, I'm going to talk about that. So originally the plans had the garage attached to it, and we asked that the garage not be attached. It definitely looked too large then. So this is the second set of plans that we've had come forward that have been redesigned, because originally the garage was attached to the structure and we did not feel that that was appropriate. The board spoke about that.
And Rashay, my question is kind of out of pocket, but again, as Beth was saying, on the sequence of everything, when I look at this home, it does not seem to be a single family residence at all. I sure wouldn't want to be the wife cleaning all those toilets. But it looks like it's designed as a B&B, and that has to pass Board of Adjustments, right?
That's correct. But Joe, you can talk about this. I'm not sure the answer, but I think it's still a residential home, correct? R1 or R2?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they have 4 children, and their children are grown, but they want them to have a place when they visit them. And that's the reason they originally wanted 5 bedrooms in the home, and they've settled for 4 with the possibility of maybe a bedroom being over that garage. But there is absolutely no intent of that being a bed and breakfast. I can promise you that. But and you can do what you need to do on that. But that is definitely not the intent here.
Okay.
And the house itself is
bathrooms.
definitely a single. I mean, it is definitely a single family home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
That I had that question as well, Pat. Thank you for asking.
Do we want to kind of maybe get back to the focus of COA 159 to demo the shed, or how do we?
I think 159 is easily dealt with. I think we're really consternating over 160.
Okay,
Well-
so the public hearing is 159 and 160, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Are
okay,
there
sorry.
Are there any, does anybody else have any questions about the demolition? Okay, Rashay, can we vote on these demolitions now, or no, we close the public hearing first,
Close the
right?
public hearing, and then we have final discussion, and then we vote yes on both of them.
Okay, so are we ready to close the public hearing, or are there more questions?
And people still can ask questions in the regular hearing as well, just FYI.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I say close the public hearing.
All right, so we're gonna close the public hearing at 6:40.
Do we log off?
No. You can
No,
stay
no,
and
no.
ask questions. No, that's okay. You stay and ask.
Okay.
Yeah, we just, this is legally how we have to do it. This is how we legally do it.
I have to make a motion to close the public hearing, right? So do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I will make a motion that we close the public hearing on COAs 159 and 160.
And
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Uh,
All right, so now we'll move on to COA 20-159, which is just demolition of the shed. And if we have any other questions or discussions, please go ahead and let's hear it.
Comfortable with approving the demolition of the shed. I don't think it serves any really historical significance for the area. So that's my stance.
I agree.
I agree also.
All right, do we have a motion for COA 20-159?
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-159. My motion is based on the following findings: that the demolition is consistent with the demolition standards set forth in Section 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so, Rashay, when we do this demolition for COA 20-160, that's just,
the house.
right, but do we need to go, do we have a COA for this plan for this home?
Yeah, it's attached with that one as well.
Okay, so it's 160 is demolition and approval of this.
No, we don't have
Concept.
the, yeah, we don't have approval of this concept. No, but it says that we have to review it, not adopt or approve it. That was the definitions the city attorney made to try to clarify. So we have to review the new construction plans and understand that something similar to that is coming to us, but we do not approve the new construction of this. Joe is going to come back with that. The only thing I have to say for sure about that is the plans. I still want that right side to not stick out as much. I want it to be shifted over to the left. That's the one thing that I really, really
Yes.
want.
Yeah, I was noticing it doesn't even line up with the back portion of the house, and I'm assuming that's to maintain those two windows on the rear of the existing original portion of the home. But it seems like it could undoubtedly be moved over a fair bit so that it doesn't stick out quite so far.
Yeah.
You know, it could stick out a little bit on both sides instead of so much on one side. I don't, you know, I mean, obviously this makes a lot of work for an architect, which I can understand, but it's also their job.
I'm not sure if I understand what you're saying there, Beth.
Well, looking at the addition, let me pull it up. Oh, shoot.
Page 9.
Thank you, Pat. Well, you can see the original portion of the home, basically two buildings. Pardon me, the two front rooms and the front porch. And then this addition is just the whole thing just shifted over to the right in comparison to those two front rooms. And obviously you can see that setback line to the left. I just, you know, we're just curious about if, I know that, you know, it's not just, you can't just shift the whole thing. There's a lot happening here. But if it could be moved over so that it doesn't stick out to the right so far.
Well, the rooms are just so big.
Well, when I look at it, you
now
guys,
we can't get into that. You know, if you look at that thing, you know, we did the lower section. I'm gonna look right here. Okay, we did that so we could help to distinguish it from the old. And then this is our screen porch roof back here. Okay, I mean it's a nice size screen porch. It's going to make really comfortable living for these people and their lifestyle and their families. This over here, when you look at it from that side, that's where that covered porch is. So they can, when they come to this unattached garage now, at least they'll have some place to come to get out of the weather before entering their house. That was the reason.
I'm not saying to take any of it away. We're just curious about having the addition, if you're looking at the front of the house, shifted over to the left so less of it sticks out.
I'm not following you. I don't believe I'm following. You mean here? Bring this up?
The front elevation, the turret would continue to be the right-hand portion of the house, as opposed to it almost looking to be in the center in the front elevation.
Basically, when you're looking at that from the front of the house, the proposed addition, it's all house and a driveway to the right. And I think what Beth is saying, if that could be brought back in where it more nearly matches the old footprint, or at least the width of it, when you're viewing it from the front, is a lot of what our concern is. And Beth, does that?
Yes, but you also have to remember that when you're looking at that front elevation, that part that we're seeing to the right is 25 feet back.
Feet deep, exactly.
But that doesn't
virtually
negate
nothing,
the fact
though,
that
when you're.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's not.
What?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you said, sir.
My apologies. I'm just saying 25 feet is nothing when you're standing in front of it. I mean, it's a stone's throw. I mean, it effectively makes the house look half again as wide as the current front elevation. And then it extends back from there. The scale is just disproportionate to what's currently present. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like now, I mean, there probably are concerns about making one big block heading back. But on the other hand, it would be more honest to the current front elevation if it were similar to where the turret continues to be the right side. Proportionally, things would still look very similar to what's present, just be a bit more massive. But, you know, right now you've got something where the proportions are just, they're very different than what you're currently seeing.
Okay, so I feel like, Joe, did any of that make any sense?
I
Joe?
do, and I thought I had addressed this already, and when my first drawing, but
We did talk about
these rooms here. I'll be honest with you. Older homes and some of the other bigger rooms, you don't have that luxury of having the individual rooms that people like to have and the bedrooms and so forth. That portion of that house has nothing but a living room, a hallway, and a bedroom in it. So what we're doing over here, we got to have laundries, we got to have the new amenities that everybody likes to have in their house, and this extra bedroom that they want that we had went from 5 to 4 to accommodate that. That's why this is smaller than it was. And that's setting back with the proper landscaping and which will be extensive, I'm sure. This will fit. And there's houses on that street that'll have a lot more frontage than this house.
Well, we're Joe. We're not saying
this is a big lot. It's not like it's a little bitty lot either.
Well, and we're not saying that what is back there is too much. I don't think that it is. Personally, I can't speak for the whole board, but I'm just looking at the setback on the left and how the house lines up with that and how the addition doesn't line up with that. And if that is something that can be addressed, I don't think at this point anybody has any issue with demolishing that back portion.
So I actually really like the front facade, and if I'm looking at the elevation view from the streetscape, I actually like how, the front door is still offset to the left, but you have the bay window, and that seems like it's now the center and the focal point of the entire building. With the addition on to the right side, I don't know, it kind of like evens it out, but I don't mind that we have this addition on the left, on the right hand side, and then you have the garage that sits behind it. So it kind of it's kind of obstructing a little of the view of the garage as well, which was a big deal for us last time. We did not want, he's got the garage pushed back 100+ feet more than what, probably 150 feet back more than where it was originally. And a good portion of this addition looks like maybe 5 to 10 feet is covering the garage. So it's covering one whole garage door, actually. And so that was one of our biggest concerns last time. I think he's achieved that, and I don't have an issue with the scale of the addition on the right-hand side.
The truth of the matter is that I'm mostly okay with it as well. I just want to address the people who took the time to come to the meeting, their concerns.
But if I may say one more thing, Beth, and I looked it up here, I didn't have it at my fingertips, but to answer Nick's answer, the original house is 3,116 feet as it stands right now, 3,116 feet. The new house with the renovation would be four, including the porches, the screened-in porch would be 4,540 square feet. So including a side porch and a screened-in porch, we're adding right about 1,400 feet to the house, living space to the house.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
That's 1/3.
I'd like to hear from all of our board members. So Josh and Rick and Pat, I want to hear your all's thoughts and concerns, please.
I'll jump in if I may. Hi. So I want to be clear. We're approving 160 now.
Yes.
We're not approving of the new addition. We'll do an approval. If we do an approval, that approval is contingent on, the demolition is contingent upon the future approval of the expansion. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So all we're kind of doing is just giving a heads up to how we're going to actually respond on the application for the addition, correct?
Yes. So basically we don't want to allow demo to occur if we feel that the design going forward is inappropriate. And
Right.
we can suggest changes and he could come back with slight changes. We could do several things like that. But yes, the demolition is consistent and conditional upon him being allowed to build the new structure.
Right, so the demolition will never occur until he gets the addition approved, correct?
Yes, the
And
demolition
is-
will not occur until he has approval of the new construction plans. Yes.
Got it.
Which we can't do today, right?
Yes, we're not doing that today.
So just a few comments regarding the addition. I think Joe has responded to everything we asked in the last review. They have given us a setback. Summer, the curve that was into the roof line that you didn't like, that's been adjusted.
Mhm.
I was concerned with kind of how that offset was created between the old and the new, so it's responded to that. So scale for 4,500 square foot house doesn't bother me in the least bit. I clearly think this enhances the historic district. I think it does, and I don't think it destroys, distracts, degrades the historical integrity of the district. I think it's in a marginal area that's had some disinvestment in recent years, and I think this level of development will have a ripple effect in a very positive way in the community. So I'm going to vote to approve of it. Nick and Jim, you guys, I love your house. I think you've done an incredible job. You get my blue ribbon for best Christmas decoration, so I commend you to that.
And Halloween.
Yeah. So, and I appreciate everything you're saying, and I think a citizen that's committed and has a passion for their community is far better than somebody that's just being quiet and compliant. So thanks for talking, and I listen to everything you say carefully. But I think this project as planned should go forward.
And if I could just interject, I want to just make sure we're not anti-development. And in fact, it is exciting to think that something would finally happen with this house. So there's just some trepidation about where does the mansionizing of these properties end? At what point does it become too much? Because there are many other properties on 3rd Street where this same thing could be done again. And at what point does it just become too much? And how do you stop something like that once it starts? And, you know, it's a concern. It's also exciting that, you know, something will finally be done with the property.
Absolutely. And I don't think any of us would ever misinterpret you as being anti-developmental whatsoever. No, not in the least. We understand your concerns and the board is listening to them. And so I feel like if we can all come to a decent consensus about this and have some true conversation and then at least express our opinions and hopefully move forward with some things that might happen to make this even more equal upon both ends. But no, we appreciate your comments and we can appreciate your concerns. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate being heard. So thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Josh, have you spoke?
No.
Yay.
So, I mean, real quick, I mean, I'm in agreement with Rick and Summer. I mean, just specifically looking at page 14, the front elevation, just the balance and scale, the turret kind of being the centerpiece like that. And also the response that he's made from previous meeting.
Mhm.
I think it works.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, and then Pat.
Yes, I'm comfortable with this. It's much more in scale than what we saw before. And as Beth mentioned, it's more in balance, actually. if you don't look from the drone view, if you look from the front of the home, I think it's, the addition is in bounds and that the demolition can proceed, or
Okay.
the step can proceed.
Thank you. And so we all feel, I want to make sure, because the consensus and the true thing we're voting on is that Joe has presented enough evidence to allow both of those to go back, those to be demolished. So that's just making sure we're all in consensus about that as far as too. So we have to have a basic understanding of the new construction that will occur. We're not approving it, making clarification, but also that the evidence that he has presented is enough to allow those additions to come down.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. So are we ready to vote for COA 20-160, which is the request to demolish part of the building? That will be, we have to say that it's conditional upon approval of the plans, correct?
Yes.
And can we also do an approval of the concept of the plan today, or no?
Nope.
No. Okay. I just want to make sure. All right, so let's go ahead and have a motion for COA 20-160.
I will make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-160 with the condition that the new construction plans are approved. My motion is based on the following findings. The demo is consistent with the demo standards set forth in Section 5 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
And I will second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Excellent. And then Mr. Kipper and everyone, if you would like to come to the meeting where the new plans are also discussed, you can email me that information, and I would be more than willing to help you. Okay.
All righty, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Y'all have a great
you.
night.
You too.
Fred.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Rashay,
Yes, ma'am.
is there a rule where we can't approve the plans this meeting? I mean, is that a rule?
Yeah, because
Okay.
we have to have the new construction plans. We'll have to have the final design plans, and we would have to do it like windows, the doors. I know.
I gotcha. Okay,
yeah,
so
you would have to go through all of that too. So that's why
I
we submitted
gotcha.
the plan.
Okay, I just didn't know if it was, I knew we didn't have enough information on our COAs for tonight, but I didn't know if that was a rule, and that's why we didn't have the info. And
No.
you know what I mean? Okay.
And Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but part of the reason too, when we got clarification from the city attorney about reviewing plans versus approving plans for new construction along with demolition and what it states in our guidelines, it was because too, if Joe's going to spend quite a lot of, it's going to be, a lot of effort and time and energy to create the plans. And so, and they didn't want to invest that if they weren't allowed to demo to even begin the procedure of that. Is that correct, Joe?
All the specifics. I gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why we've done it this way. And now he will come back with the new construction plans and we'll review those when he does that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I am recusing myself.
Sorry.
I'm
All
going
right,
to
Joe, thank you so much for
Yeah,
your
thanks,
time
Beth.
and for being patient with us and helping us understand everything, sir.
So
Um,
I'm all done here.
Yeah, you're done, Joe.
you're done?
Hey, I'm gonna stick around, but I apologize to all the other people there tonight. I'm taking up so much of your time, but that's the beauty of a demo. You get to go first.
You never get to go first
I
either.
never go first. You're right.
Nobody never gets to go first. Okay, so
Okay.
All right, so moving on to COA 20-124 amended. This is Pat and Fred.
oh, Pat's not a part of it. She's recused herself for the record.
Yes, but it is her home.
It is her home. It made me happy. Yes, and Fred, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, excellent. Tell us what you've amended here, sir.
Okay, as I said in my notes, once I started looking at actually putting in this stone step and looking at the nuts and bolts of it, I realized that it wasn't going to work out, I don't think. And as I explained in here, and I sent the pictures, the bottom step, the existing bottom step, is sloped back towards the house. So if I put a step in front of it, a square step, as you can imagine, since the face of the existing step is sloping, if I put a square step in front of it, there would be a gap at the top of the new step where it butts against the existing step, which would be considerable. And so to make that look right, I would have to put some grout in there or something like that. Or try to cut a stone on a slope to match that slope. And all of that got a little involved, as well as the fact that the existing structure, those existing steps are constructed by one step being put on top of the other. So the bottom step is placed, the second step is placed on the back inch or so of that front step. The top step is placed on the top of the second step, if that makes sense. So I can't put a new step under the lower step to match the existing construction. I'm forced to put it against it. And again, I can't see how I could make that a nice, clean, flush joint, putting a new stone in front of the existing stone. I think it would look like it's out there by itself. It would look like it had been set down and then caulked or grouted around. So what I'm proposing to do is to construct, I'll back up a second. I believe a step is needed because of the safety factor. And you see in some of my pictures that I'm trying to show that the brick approach is sloped upwards towards the house. And then there's a 9-inch step. So when one steps from that brick up to that first step, it's a bit of a step, particularly with older folks. So I really think a step is needed. And what I would like to do is, rather than the stone step, is to put a brick step that would still be the same 7-inch high. So I would have again, there's a 14-inch difference between the top of the existing bottom step and the top of the steps that come up off the sidewalk. So so I'm going to split that and have a 7-inch brick step, and then it would be a 7 inches up to the existing lower step. If that's allowed, what I would propose then, rather than just doing a step, I would extend that brick step facing the house to the left, all the way over to the end of where the existing brick patio is that goes all the way up beside the house. So that rather than coming off of a step and then off the step and then back up the brick to the side of the house, I think it would look better, and it would certainly be a cleaner transition to just have that step become it would be a step all the way across. If I don't extend that, if I put a brick step in and do not extend it all the way across, then I have to transition from the level brick patio that I would have back up to this existing elevation. It'd be, again, I'd have to make up that 14 inches, and rather than doing a step, it would be a ramp. And I think the ramp it'd be a lot steeper than I'd like to see it. So it's a cleaner installation to put, if I put the step in, to just extend that step all the way across, and then essentially the top of that step becomes, it ties right into the existing brick that goes around the house. So that, I hope that makes some sense. I've tried to send those pictures and show how that would look. The brick I have some old brick that we uncovered when we did some landscaping up by the house where the driveway is. I have quite a bit of that brick. And in full disclosure, I also have some old brick that I salvaged from a distillery demolition at the Oak Crow Distillery back in the late 90s. The brick's 100 years old probably. It matches the other brick, so it's all an old brick. So, and as you can see from the pictures, again, I try to show this transition, how it would be and how it ties into the existing brick. So that's my request.
I have a couple of questions. One, could the face of this step the part that would be the step, not the part that's the patio, could it be faced with some sort of stone or limestone that looks more like what you've got for your steps? Instead of a full limestone step, could it be brick on top and with the face that stone, so it kind of rolls into your limestone steps?
I suppose I could, but my certainly, because if I do a step, I'm not a brick mason, but I'm presuming that I will have to have someone pour a concrete step to put the brick on. So once we've done that, we could face it with anything. My belief, though, is that if you have a brick top and a stone face and then a brick patio, I think it will stand out more and look more. I don't think it'll tie in with the stone of the step. I think it will look separate. I think the brick, a total brick look would look better, but I presume I could do, yes, we could face it with something that looks like brick or looks like stone or.
And I don't mean the whole, like if it was raised, over into that patio area, I feel like that should all be brick, but I was just thinking about that face where it's right in front of your steps. The other question I have is about, you have these side pieces on your steps,
Right.
and some of that will obviously be covered up, and will it be covered up to both sides, to one side? How would that work?
Well, it would be faced on the left side going towards the rest of the brick. And would it be on the right? No.
Because I feel like it will look lopsided if the vertical pieces are, one is looks taller than the other. Does that make sense? Because it's covered up by some brick.
I would have to think about that because I would have to think about that. I mean, but yes, it could be. Once we decide to build a brick step, and again, we have to pour some concrete to put this brick on. It can be done as wide as we wanted. So yes, I'm not sure how that would look. I would like to come back with some thoughts on that. But
Brad, I may have misunderstood. When you said, are you kind of talking about all the brick that I see in the picture? Would all of that would be raised 7 inches? Because you were talking about, I don't know if you just meant a walkway to the patio on the left side, or if all of it would be raised at 7 inches to act as, like, the whole thing act as a step, essentially.
if you can imagine in front of that lower step, a brick step.
Okay.
That is probably 11 inches deep and
Okay.
7 inches high.
Right.
And that edge of that step would continue to the left all the way to the edge of the existing brick patio. And at that point, it's almost at the height of that patio. There would be just a short transition there right into the existing patio. So that existing patio that's on the side of the house essentially remains unchanged.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
I'm not really loving the idea of this brick step. I just visually, I feel like it's going to look out of place, and I'm just wondering if there's a different solution. Does anybody else have any thoughts, guys? More ideas from you all might bring more ideas from me.
Rick and Summer and Josh?
Kind of like the
Well-
idea of just that whole area being an elevated brick step. That's kind of what I was thinking he was talking about, which he wasn't. Almost like a landing, like a larger brick landing. Now I don't know how, if you're gonna do it in brick, maybe that doesn't make sense, but
It
that's
is
kind of
gonna
what
be-
I'm.
It is essentially a landing.
Mhm.
I'm having a hard time.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess the other question is if that the sloped portion of that brick was less sloped, it might make a big difference in what that brick would look like if there was a raised brick step. Or would it be, 11 inches right in front of that step, or could that step be closer to the edge of the front stairs? Or,
I think it has to extend the entire length of the step that's too tall, right? And I think we would feel more comfortable if it did not go past the stone pieces on each side that kind of trim out the stairs, right?
I feel like I would be okay if it covered both of those sides
Okay.
evenly. I could
Either
be okay
covered
with
both
that.
or didn't cover them at all. Yeah, I'm with you.
But like either kind of lower that brick that sloped, you can see it pretty well on page 9,
Mhm.
or like so that brick covers less of that limestone. I'm not completely.
Well, I do think you'd have to lower it and then bring it up. I think that's what he was saying. Right now that riser is 9 inches, but he has 14 inches to work with, right, Fred? So you would be
it's 14
taking
inches.
out, yeah.
It's 14 inches from that. You can see in that one picture, there's kind of a stone step coming off the
Mhm.
driveway from that, or from the sidewalk.
Mhm.
From that point to the top of the existing lower step is 14 inches. So I have
Right.
14 inches. And if I make all of the brick in front of this new step level, which I would, that's the
Mhm.
whole process, then I have to get from that level back to the level beside these steps.
Mhm.
That is, it's going to be like 8 or 9 inches. I don't have an exact number, and that's going to, so I would have like a slope going up, a ramp rather than a step. And I'm not saying it can't be done. My preference would be to do the step all the way across.
That's what I'm picturing, the step all the way across. And on the left side, you would have, it wouldn't even be a full 7-inch step down to the other brick because it's a little bit higher over there, I believe. But
to give you some perspective, that front step is 9 inches high. So if I put a brick step in front of it, the top of that brick step will be about 2 inches higher than the brick is right now.
right,
And
To make it a 7-inch rise.
right,
So then,
which is code.
so then you can imagine, if you can imagine that elevation right 2 inches above the existing brick, going all the way to your left, it kind of runs into the existing level of the brick that's there. But so that step would be created by lowering all the brick in front of it down
Right.
to the elevation of this new
Mhm.
approach. So that's, and if I don't have a step, then I would have to just, if I take that elevation and slope it back to the level part in front of the step. And so I'm going to be making up about 7 inches in 3 or 4 feet. And maybe it can be done. I just, and if that's what we need to do, that's what we'll do.
This is kind of one of those circumstances, I think, where you just kind of have to get in there and just start. You know, I think it's kind of a tricky situation. It's a lot of uneven, surfaces, and you know, it definitely isn't to code. So, I mean, I think that's an issue we need to fix. The 9-inch riser it's too high of a riser. I know it's uncomfortable to walk up a step that's that high. So I'm going to trust in you, Fred, that you will make this look the best of your ability. And I'm comfortable giving you full reins to do what you need to do here.
Thank you.
Pat can't answer any questions.
Sorry,
Rick or Josh, do you have any?
Profound insight.
Yes, Josh, yes.
That's funny. I'm fine with the step. Doing the brick step with just splitting the difference and then leaving everything else level versus the ramp. I think that would work better.
Rashay, could we, my biggest issue is how it will meet those two vertical side pieces.
Yes.
And is this something that we can have you deal with? Because I mean, it's obviously going to be kind of like Summer said, kind of as you go, you have to kind of figure this thing out.
So just, excuse me, but realize that, again, when you're looking at this, that step is going to be about 2 inches higher than what you see there now. So it's
right.
It's not going to cover all of that. It's going to look exactly like it does now, except you're going to see 2 inches less of that step and the side pieces.
I don't think it's going to take anything away from it.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, and if you want to make that a condition, that's fine, Beth. If you want to do that, if the board feels that way. If you want to make any element of it staff approved, for him not to have to come back.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, I understand that it's going to be lower down and it's not going to cover up the whole step. I still don't like the idea of the brick, but I don't have there's nothing in the regs that say that it can't be that, and I totally get it. My other concern, being the clumsy person that I am, having brick steps out in my backyard, is that is a trip hazard, but it's also not my house. But I would like to make sure that where it meets the stairs is, both those two side pieces, it looks consistent. So, and I would just like for you to have an eye on that.
I can do that. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion for COA 20-124 amended?
I'll make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-124 amended. My motion is based on the following findings. The porch alteration is consistent with the porch's steps and stairs standards set forth in section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design Review Manual.
Could you please include the condition that Rashay approve
Final
Side pieces.
design?
Yeah. Okay. That's
final
fine.
design
Yep.
was with the condition that the final design will be staff approved.
And any changes he can go through me. Yeah.
Great.
Yay.
I will second.
Thank you.
All right.
Summer.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you.
Sweet. Thank you, Fred. All right, let's welcome Pat back.
Hi, Pat.
Hi.
And moving on to COA 20-145. Signs
Willie,
at
this is you.
107 West Stephen Foster. Oh my goodness.
So this is exactly the same thing we saw last time, right? Or were there changes?
I couldn't find any changes.
Okay,
Rashay?
I didn't either. I just want to make sure.
Hold on. He's getting unmuted. Oh, Willie, you have to unmute your thing.
Up at the top, there's a
Yay,
little,
you did it. Great.
All right.
Hey, Willie.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Can someone hold a picture up of it?
It's the same one last time, Willie, I think.
Yeah.
Can you see this one? Can you see me?
Yeah, it is. That's not the one it is. We sent Roche a new one.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, Lord.
We don't have the new ones.
Can you have, you can show it to us, Willie?
It's on the computer that I'm on, so there's no way.
Can you
Yeah.
share a screen on this, Roche? I don't know.
Roche,
ooh,
can you pull it up?
I am gonna try really hard. Hold on.
And
Because let's see.
You can share your screen, Willie. So if you go to the, like with your cursor
right
at the
there's a
bottom,
share
it says
screen, but we'd have to go here.
participants, Q&A, share screen. Do you see it? Or are you on
Yeah.
iPad?
No, I'm on a laptop, or
Okay.
Lisa's helping me now. But I'll talk while she's doing that. We're going to go back with the sign just like it was. We're going to refurbish it, but we're going to change the writing on it. And I'd hope you'd had that, but so I think what y'all were concerned about was the Talbot Tavern was on both signs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. It's not going to be on. It's only going to be on the one smaller sign. It's not going to be on the other. And just all the wording is going to be on there, the lodging and that. We're trying to get it up, so we'll see here.
And you said you're refurbishing the wooden frame?
Yeah, we're just going to we're going to reuse what's there and just keep it like it is. We decided that was the simplest way.
Good.
Hold on, we're getting closer.
Okay, and Willie, I think that is the one you sent me that I've
Well,
loaded.
Can I?
That's it. Yeah, what you've got up there it's what they have is what I've got.
Ours are rectangular.
But they're I think he superimposed it over the frame, but it says it says Talbot Tavern, and he's got it's in the original frames on both of them. It's not just square anymore. And it says restaurant, lodging, bourbon bar, and gift shop. Is that what?
That's not what we have.
Okay, then hold on.
Did
No, we don't
remove
have
the
it.
top? Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Sorry about that.
I can do this. It's okay. It just didn't. Something happened with it. Oh, so you're just doing the two signs.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. All right. So this is what was on the PDF that you sent me. Okay.
that's going to be like it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And go to the other one. Yes, go to the other one.
Ta-da.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Good.
That's it.
Good.
It's not what we're showing on our application.
Yeah. So
On page 9, isn't it? Isn't that what we have on page 9 or no?
No.
But I like what you're showing us, Roche. That's what we asked for.
well, if I upload a new application, which I did, sometimes you have to restart your iPads to get that new application. We figured that out a little bit. So it's probably not showing up for you all, but it has been amended with that. So I'm sorry it's not showing up, you guys. But that's the one. And it's in the original frame. And then we have number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the bourbon bar will remain the same.
Like what it was, the little one over against the building will be like.
Everything's going to keep the same shape, and what we can save, we're going to save. If not, just rebuild it.
Sounds good.
And
So, yeah.
no more than 2 signs are going to say Talbot Tavern, correct, Willie?
Correct.
Got it.
Well, I guess, does that little one say Todd? Little one doesn't say Talbot Tavern, does it? I don't think.
That one does. So this little one does hanging up there?
Yeah.
No, the little one that's on
Real
the
little one. Yeah.
well, there
bourbon
is
bar.
one. Yeah.
The one that says
little
bourbon
one,
bar.
Roche, can you see this? The little one that's adjacent to the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Backwards, but whatever.
Is that the only 2 that has it on there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yes. And
Rochelle?
Rick, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
So Is someone allowed to just list all the different services, the functions of a business? Is that a right in the signage code?
So they're referred to as directional signs. If they have different openings or different entrances, we allow no more than 2 square feet to be used for a directional sign. That's allowed in the city sign ordinance, and it doesn't require an application, but for HRB it does. So we do usually allow those for directional emphasis to locate. So here's where the bar opening is. Here's where the restaurant is. If they have separate entrances. In HRB, all of it has to be approved.
So you're saying that the second sign saying restaurant, lounge, lodging, bourbon bar, gift shop, restaurant, you're saying that's a directional sign?
No, I think I was referring mostly to the smaller signs on the building that are by the
Yeah,
entrance.
so on this large sign, on the pole sign, does that meet code to list restaurant, lodging, bourbon bar, gift shop? Just a list. Can anybody list whatever? Shoes, dresses, hats, can that be listed?
I think because there are so many businesses within this business,
I'm thinking.
we allow something like that, but they don't get to list like everything that they sell on a sign. There's an inn here, there is a restaurant, there is a bar, and there is a gift shop. And those are 4 separate entities, sort of. I mean, they all fall under one roof, but I think we've let other businesses, when they have more than one function, list their functions.
We have done that, and that's what. So no, Rick, we wouldn't say like sweaters, dresses. You're right. We would not allow a sign to go up that would state that specifically. But if they have been like a beauty center, and I don't even know what else to say. If it's been like a restaurant and or bed and breakfast, we've allowed both of those to go on a sign. And then so if it does have different functions, like Beth said, we have allowed that to go on a sign before. And Talbot Tavern is one that does have many functions that is located within that building. But I understand your concern.
I was more asking a question.
Yeah.
And then it seems awkward not to have Talbot Tavern. I'm going back and forward. So you're saying that you can only have the name of the business and 2 signs, not 3 signs?
Yes.
Correct?
You can, so the guidelines state that only 2 signs can be permitted on a business in the historic district that has the name or logo. Now, we have allowed 3 sometimes if there's more than 1 entrance, or we've allowed a 1 to go in the back. We've done that. So if they're pulling up from the back area or trying to enter the back portion of the building, we've allowed sometimes an extra sign to go back there. But that's up to the board's discretion to determine if they feel that they have appropriate number of signs, or if they have, the need for that many signs.
Okay.
Meaning the board would have to grant it as a permission, yeah, not necessarily as a regulation.
All right. Are there any other questions?
No.
So just for the record, Willie, Talbot Tavern is only on 2 signs on the building.
Yes, we'll
Great.
make sure of that.
Okay.
I thought this was going to be a slam dunk, but technology got in the way, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry it's not
I know
updating
it.
for you all.
I know it.
It is I'm pulling it up on my desktop, but it is, where I save the PDF. It's fine. It'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Sorry, we got it.
We got it.
All right.
Figured it out.
So do we have a motion for COA 20-145?
I will make a motion to recommend the approval of COA 20-145. My motion is based on the following findings: that the signs are consistent with the sign standards set forth in Section 4 of the Bardstown Historic Design and Review Manual.
Do we have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now moving on to COA. Thank you, Willie, by the way.
Thank you
Willie.
all.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
20-161.
161.
Yeah. So this
This
is West
is-
Park Skate Bowling for the signage at 122 North 3rd Street.
Yes.
Hi, Beth.
I'm gonna sit in through this meeting with them.
Okay, great, Willie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Willie.
So
Thank you, Willie.
all right.
I have one question about this. So on the doorway, the existing, I call it decal that's on the glass, what is the size of that and what is the recommended, what is the proposed replacement of that? What is that size?
Willie, do you have that?
On, yeah. I have it. It just will take me a second to look it up, but
That's okay.
it's going to be the exact same size.
That's the door, the decal on the door, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's just replacing it in the exact same size, only that's there currently, the little logo on the door. Just the different colors with a slightly different design.
Yes.
Okay, so just to confirm,
Yeah.
the existing one is 18 by 18 inches, is that correct?
Yes, that's on page 9.
Well,
So
no,
that's the
but-
new one, the existing one on the door.
That they said was the same size.
Yeah.
Same size.
The reason I ask is the new one seems overscale for a sign on a glass window going into a shop. I have the belief that store windows, doorways should be transparent and you should be able to see into the store. And it seems like to me that's it just seems like it's asking for a problem to put it that large right there in the center.
Well,
From a visual merchandising standpoint and from a safety standpoint.
it's the only signage at street level. So someone walking by, that's the only place they would see our name.
Well, there's other alternatives.
True, but it's the same size. It's just a different shape than the one we're replacing.
And I
Well,
think this is something we've done before.
Is this at the same identical placement as the existing sign? Same
Yeah.
height, everything's the same.
Yes.
Everything's the same.
Does any of the other board members want to comment or have any questions? Go for it.
I feel like it's just a replacement of the same size, different design of everything we have approved before. So
Yep.
I don't have an issue with that. But Rick, just understand, like, just if we approve of it, that doesn't mean you have to. Okay.
Yeah, I want to ask the questions. I would just go back to the merchant and say, I love the store. It's a great store. It's a great addition. I do not think it's good merchandising to put that sign in that location. I think I just think if I were your architect, your design advisor, I would say find a different way to sign that store. I think once one steps in to come into that space, they've already made the commitment to be there. And I think you lose more than you gain if you could find another place to put that sign. And just because it's been done in the past doesn't mean that's the right thing to do. Having said that, I'm not going to hold it up. And if the rest of the group wants to go with it, I'll go with it. But I would say you could do better than that.
Are there any other questions or comments from the board members?
I have a question about the design of the sign. And I truly have difficulties with perceptual understanding, but I don't see anything on the sign except lines. So I've been told it's supposed to be the head of a peacock. but I can't find it.
Are you on page 9?
I am.
And you don't see, it's like pink.
I see pink and red, but where's the peacock?
Okay, there's not one. It's the letter P.
Oh,
Used a couple.
With sort of a peacock,
Like a reverse P, a P and a reverse P.
yes. And then like like the eye of a peacock in pink and red, sort of in between.
Is it traditional enough for what we look for?
I don't think there's any problem with it.
Okay,
I will say I like the old one better.
yeah.
But I don't have any problems with this design or this sign.
The word says peacock on third, so that tags the store. To me, everything else has nothing to do with it. But that's just my personal inability to conceive.
I'm hoping that one day we'll get to where we only allow like routed signs instead of a flat sign.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
more
second-
about that than I am what really is on the sign. It's
Yeah,
more
I second that, Summer.
yeah.
I don't think we can get into designing trademark logos. We just
Right.
You're right.
What it is what it is.
All
I
right.
think a routed sign looks so much nicer.
Do we have a motion for COA 20-161?
I will make the motion to recommend approval of COA 20-161. The sign is consistent with the sign standards set forth in section 4 of the Barshawn Historic Design Review Manual.
And do we have a second? Did you do that, Josh? Sorry. All right. All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
excellent. So, Ms. Clark, you have been approved, so you just have to wait. And Kate, you just have to wait one more week for city council to give you approval. And then once they do, I'll email you a certificate of appropriateness and approval letter, and you can have the sign installed then. Okay, so just one more week to wait.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you guys, and I hope you have a great
Thank you
night.
all.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Thank you all.
thanks.
You're welcome. Bye, Willie.
All right, bye-bye.
All right.
Thanks, Willie.
To
thank you all.
COA.
And I'll come for an art
No,
lesson with
I'm
Kate.
sorry. I apologize. COA, let us see, 19-255 amended.
Yes, it says
Has-
20 agenda.
Yes, it's 19. I'm sorry.
Oh,
And sweet Lord, nothing got updated. So that is has been removed from the agenda by
Oh.
request of the applicant.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Surprise at the end.
So
yes.
I'm so cold.
I
Like
had
a
to put a
Christmas
jacket
gift.
on halfway through, and I'm in my house, not a garage. So,
Lord, so it's freezing. I want to bring you hot cocoa, but I can't.
do we have any provisional approvals, Tricia?
Nope. We got nothing. We're done. Did we approve the minutes for November at the
Yes.
beginning?
Yes, I don't remember who.
That's okay. I know I had to get that thing to you, so that's fine. I will listen to the audio and get that taken care of. Yeah, as of right now, we don't have anything else. We just need, we have no new business and no old business. We just need a motion to adjourn.
Who will make a motion?
Make the motion to adjourn.
I
Second.
second that motion.
Summer seconded. All in favor?